Welcome to another edition to the Boost to Suits podcast with CJ and Gate. Hey, this episode, Corey, we got a phenomenal guest. We got Mr. Bobby Jackson here. He's going to sit here and enlighten us on everything finance and in the business development world of finance and getting started for business owners out here. Sharing his knowledge. He's a Marine Corps veteran, done great things to serve our country, and now he's doing phenomenal things to help these business owners. So I can't wait to get into this episode. How was your week, Corey? Hey, first off, congratulations on your 30 years of active duty Navy service. Bobby, he just retired on Wednesday. So I just want to see him do I normally give my boots to suits a medal of greatness to the guests. So I'm gonna give it to you, Bobby, but I also want to give it to Corey, saying thank you for your 30 years of service as a chief warrant officer in our great Navy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Went by pretty fast. Always fast when you're having fun, right? That's how it works.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it, man. So thank you so much for blessing us, man, with coming on our show today. Just reading your bio and following you. I think you're doing tremendous things. And I think, there are gonna be a lot of listeners out there that's gonna be able to relate to you, whether it just be the Marine Corps, Navy, or whatever, just seeing everything you grew during the time that you was in the military and you was able to do both and prosper. So I'm looking forward to hearing how you did it. Hopefully it helped me in my afterlife of after Navy, and seeing what I can learn from you, brother. Appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah. Happy
So
to be.
thanks. Thank you.
So, one thing I just definitely wanted to say to our audience, if you haven't subscribed to the Boost to Suits podcast, please do so on YouTube and all podcast platforms. Just go ahead and subscribe, follow, and share our podcast. So, Bobby, again, welcome to the Boost to Suits podcast. And if you don't mind, for the few people that may not know who Bobby Jackson is and what he does, can you, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir?
Absolutely, absolutely. My name is Bobby Jackson, and I'm just a young entrepreneur that believes that small business can change the world. I genuinely believe this. And I'm from a small city in Jacksonville, Florida. And there, the music is loud, the cars are lifted, and drama is a way of life. So it does not take an economist to know there weren't very many entrepreneurs there, but that's where I'm from. And since then, I have served 11 years in the United States Marine Corps. I transitioned from that into completing my degree in finance and economics. As I finished that out, I took the leap into business a few years ago, and I took a couple bumps, lumps, and bruises along the way. But I ended up coming out on the other side of things and very well educated in the space of finance, economics, business development, and what it takes to be an executive in a startup company as a single member LLC. And I'm very interested to talk to you guys about some of those insights. That's exactly what I do and who I am.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So one thing I know, we're in some of the same communities, same coaches and everything, and we talk, on the side all the time, CJ, on this business development, leadership, because we share some of the same military, background. So if you could, how do you start your conversations with new clients on like exactly because what do you do and how can you be helpful to them when it's coming to a write off, bootstrapping it from the beginning?
Mhm. Extraordinary question. I love this question because it leans into something I believe every entrepreneur should embody. And that is your customer is trying to go somewhere. They're trying to transform. So the first thing that I do when I contact someone for the first time or I engage with them is I ask myself, where do they want to go? Where can my brand take them? And one of the things that we found out is we make entrepreneurship real. That's what we do. So many people are Pinocchios in their industry. Like they
Mm,
are not real entrepreneurs. They have the image. They've got the LLC. They've got all of these different things, but at the end of the day, they feel like imposters. You ask them how much money they've made, and they'll say, "I made this, I made that." You ask them when the last time they paid themselves. I haven't. How long you had that LLC? Well, about 3, 4, 5 years. Entrepreneurship is supposed to set you free, not set you back. You
Yeah.
know. So when I hear stories like this, that's my segue in. I say, "Oh, okay. I was you. I was you. I was the individual that had the LLC, making no money, looking at a wife that was like, you can put all this money into your business, but you can't take me out. You can pour all of your time into this, but you can't spend no time with our kids." And if I kept that up too long, I'd probably not have a beautiful, strong woman by my side today. So that's one of the things that we lead with as we help entrepreneurs navigate. We tell them that you can be a real entrepreneur. You
Mhm.
don't have to be the Pinocchio Cinderella of your industry. And we show them exactly how to do
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Would you say when you decided, to get your degrees and go head first into finance, did you find the military as a hindrance or something that was a positive impact on you?
that. I found it as necessary tension. I remember being very scrawny. I'm still scrawny to this day to a degree, but I remember being very small. And I went to the gym with a friend of mine, and he was a big, swole, muscular guy. And he told me, "A lot of people come in here, they try to put up the big weight, and think that they're going to get big. And every time I see him, he's working with some weight that you look like you can toss it around, but he looks very focused. He's looking at the muscle, taking deep
Mm,
breaths. He's really leaning into this thing." And I asked him one day, he's like, "Well, why don't you put no weight on that thing? Look at how big you are." And he told me, "I didn't get this big by just throwing tons of weight on the thing. I got this big by maintaining proper form under tension for extended periods of time." And the Marine Corps was a lot like that. It was a stepping stone that was good in the initial stages. I was putting up massive weight. I didn't have a real business structure or endeavor that I was pursuing. But as I matured and as I grew, like many of you guys are doing right now in the Marine Corps, in the Navy, in the Army, you probably just got into this thing. You're looking at your E4s, E5s, E6s, and you're like,
mhm,
man,
mhm.
either you got two things in your mind. If you're anything like me, either the guy's a jerk or the guy's awesome. Either the young lady's a jerk or the young lady is awesome, and you want to spend either more time with them or less time with them. And all of that was a part of my experience. So when I first came in, I was young and I was putting up weight. So to get back to your original question, when I started getting into business more firm, more decisive and deliberate in my actions, the Marine Corps became that constant tension. I had to be on top. I had to develop my Marines. I had to set the standard. I had to maintain my discipline. And it was something that I had to do on top of running my business. So when you did all of those things in the Marine Corps, that was proper form. And when I was building my business, that was the weight. So as I added more elements to the business and was able to maintain form, that just made me a better person. It increased my character and improved my ability to lead myself and others. So it was a tremendous benefit. And when I exited the Marine Corps, I'll end with this, it was very difficult because my mind was on business, my heart was on business, but I had responsibilities to the organization. And I think that's one of those things that, if we're using the analogy still, that can cause you to bend out of shape. When you're bench pressing, you don't want to be arching your body all crazy. Like, you want to maintain good structure and good form. But towards the end, what started to be tougher and tougher for me was maintaining form as I could see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
So I recommend to everybody that is transitioning out, that is going through the processes, that has your heart, mind, and soul set on the suits while you're still wearing your boots, to keep that form. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. How you do the first thing is how you do the next thing. And I
Mm.
learned that was crucial.
Oof.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful, and you definitely made some great points, especially with today. And
Oh,
if you look at the recession, inflation rates is constantly going. If you only have we're making everything on one skill, then your one is too close to none.
mm,
So we have to be definitely pushing ourselves to be uncomfortable to do other things to change our life. It's like Jim Rohn said, for things to change, you have to change,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't think about or think it's unimaginable to sit here and take those steps. So we appreciate having people like you and your team to sit here and come into our ecosystem or our environment and help us to structure things the right way. So let me ask you this. What kind of strategies are you putting for some of these new startup businesses with the inflation, recession, have to be more critical on the decisions? What are you recommending to these to the businesses these days?
Excellent question. Excellent question. We help the business owner develop first. So we have this thing called the ATP, and that stands for Affirmation Transformation Power Pack. And it's powerful, packed. And what it does is it disrupts the narrative. So everybody is telling themselves a story. They're telling themselves something like prices are too high, or there's not enough time in a day, or only if I had more team members, I could get things done. And this narrative is feeding your subconscious and informing your decisions. So what we do is we help them see the greatest version of themselves as an executive first. Because the truth of the matter is the wind blows the same on everyone.
mhm,
The wind is no respecter person. However, how you set your sail determines where you will arrive.
mhm,
So if you can learn to think the right way and position your company or sale appropriately, inflation can be your friend. Deflation can be your friend. A increase in prices can be your friend because entrepreneurship is the solving of problems, which means the more problems there are, the more money there is to be made. And when you can think properly and align yourself accordingly, there's tons of money out there to be made. So to answer your question, that's what we're teaching executives right now that are starting their businesses is that your business is usually not the problem. You're the problem. And if you, like you said, referencing Jim Rohn, align yourself properly, you can move forward more efficiently. And I want to share one more thing that we share with them, and it's called the 12 channels of advancement. Now, I'm not going to give you all the definitions, but I just want to open some people's minds up to some things. So the 12 channels goes as follows. You've got wisdom, humility, integrity, leadership, love, power, poise and persistence, excellence, diligence, balance, and discipline. So as people go through our tiers and different levels, they become what we call a light worker or a light vendor. That simply means that they have more control over their mind. What do you think? And that's just a nice way that we build culture. But the most important part that you got to take away from this is the first three channels. So channel one is wisdom, humility, and integrity. I'm going to give you guys these definitions the way I teach it to developing executives so that you can see the power behind it and can kind of use it for yourselves. Wisdom. Wisdom is to see the end from the beginning, knowing the best means to employ and the ideal sequence in which to employ them to arrive at the desired end state.
mm,
That's one of the first things we teach because that encompasses vision, that encompasses responsibility, and it also encompasses the ability to be educated. And education in its original sense is the ability to get things done without trespassing on the rights of others. So we teach this in this way. If you can think of the end state for your company and then inventory what you have available to you and then align those things or order those things in a sequential manner that gets you closer to your goal every step of the way, you will arrive. So that's wise business steps. Second thing is humility. So humility is the acknowledgement of one's greatness and one's weaknesses. It is the willingness to receive constructive criticism and take corrective action for the betterment of one's character and being. So this humility is crucial to the entrepreneur as they fail continuously. So you've got to understand that you are great in every aspect of the word if you think greatly, though you have weaknesses. And if you acknowledge them appropriately and take corrective action to become better and increase your character and being, then the humility will be the very thing that exalts you to the state in which you become the ideal executor. So we teach that to help them fail, try again, and fail better. That's really crucial because it takes courage to get started, but it takes consistency to finish. Commit to finish.
Say that last one again.
Yeah, it takes courage to get started, but it takes consistency and commitment to finish. So if you have that humility to not take yourself too seriously, and you can fail a couple of times and you can get corrected and move in the right direction, you'll make it. You'll make it. Right. And lastly, we share with them the integrity piece, which is it blows their mind because it sets them free. And the integrity piece is integrity is to obey one's own convictions, both publicly and privately, assuming no burdens placed upon you by the expectations of men or women. That thine own self be true. For if you are true to yourself, then you can be false to no one else. And when we teach this, it relieves them of criticism. Criticism will stifle an entrepreneur's creativity because they're so worried about being judged. But when we combine those three things of wisdom, vision, and insight, and you partner that with humility, the ability to fail and fail better, and then you underlie that with integrity and authenticity of being, they get out the gate. Go out the gate. So that's how we get them started.
Man, those are gems right there, folks. I hope you're taking great notes. Again, if you haven't already given this episode a thumbs up, please do so. If you haven't subscribed to the Boots to Suits podcast, do so now because we have a phenomenal guest, Mr. Bobby Jackson, and he's sitting here dropping some major gems. If you're even on the fence about starting a business, this is the time to do it. Okay. And these are the resources that are available to you when you connect with Bobby Jackson. We'll provide his information at the end of this episode.
Bobby, there's something I was wondering. Let's just say, just hypothetically, right? Well, I guess not hypothetically. Give me the top 3 reasons when you consult the people that want to start these new companies that they're not in the right mindset. What things do they not focus on that they should be focusing on? That you see yourself kind of repeating here and now?
It's a great question. I try to put things in chronological order or some priority system, but I'm going to give you the 3 that come to mind in no particular order. So the first one comes to mind is listening. So when people come to the marketplace as entrepreneurs, they're extremely passionate, and you need that. They're very idealistic, which is great. They're futuristic thinkers, but they don't account for the marketplace. And when you come into a market of people that you need to buy your products, you don't come in shoving down their throat what you think they need. You have to listen to what they want, and you have to ask them what they want. Very few entrepreneurs do this. They design their product before they ask the questions. They price their product before they know how much their clients are willing to pay for it, and then they shove it down their throats before they know if the client is even on the market for it. And then they come to me and say, I spent $5,000 on a website. I spent another $1,000 on coaching. Then I spent $2,000 more on developing my product. And now I'm $7,000 in the hole. I don't have any clients buying my stuff. Help me. You could have saved that money if you would have just listened first. So that's number one. The second thing is they want to do it too big too soon. They come out of the gate saying, I'm going to be a millionaire in 12 months. Mark my words. I said, all right, I'll see you in 12 months. Like, all right, knock yourself out. And in 12 months, sure enough, I follow up. Hey, what you driving these days? Oh, that Pinto, man. I tell you what. Okay, no worries, no worries. And we have a laugh about it. But the important takeaway here is that people must use what they have as entrepreneurs. That's what makes us special, is that we take what we have and we invest it into good ground or soil, if you will. And our nurturing and pruning and harvesting of the little bit that we had and the creation of more from that thing, and then the using of the surplus to serve the multitudes, that's what makes it special. So, but for whatever reason, people come into this thing wanting to throw their seed on the ground, not dig a hole, that's just to open up the bag, throw the seed out there. And then they want to watch the seed grow overnight. I mean, they want to wake up overnight and see their tree out there. And then they want to pull some of the fruits off, not put it in a beautiful basket and display it, but take the fruits off and throw it and hurl it at the customers. Just knock them upside the head with this stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, try that with finding your special someone, and she will probably turn you away, much like your customer.
Yeah.
You know, and the same is for women. Try that with Mr. Right, and he's likely going to say, "Oh no, young lady, you're a little too much for me." And that's one of the big things that I see is people not coming in with what they have. So that to end on that one is use what you got. If you only got $500, spend the $500, grow the $500, and then turn the $500 into 1,000. But a lot of people don't take action where they are because they don't feel like they have enough money to go to where they want to be. And where they want to be is just too far forward without enough actual data. So the last one, so we got listening to the market, we've got trying to do it too big too soon. The third thing I see all the time is bootstrapping unnecessarily. Like there's no point in trying to build a business with the little bit of money you have left over after you pay your bills. It's very irresponsible. But people don't know this because they don't really teach business in school. They don't teach finance in school. And not too many parents, a lot of these people that are becoming entrepreneurs are first generation entrepreneurs. So who's teaching this stuff? So what I see often is someone coming into my office and they're saying, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. And I ask them, how much money do you have? And they say, I don't have any money. That's what I would normally get. I don't have any money. And then I'm like, so what are you gonna do with no money? And they tell me, well, I'm gonna build a multi-million-dollar business in 12 months.
Okay. Okay.
All
All right.
right.
Let's see how that works
All
out for
right.
you.
Let's see how this works. And then after they get off of their high horse a little bit, we have the real discussion, which goes like this. Banks, investors, and all of these institutions exist for a reason. And the reason is to concentrate resources for the betterment of the economy. So, as a business owner, your goal is not to say, it's not to work 3 jobs and try to build a business on the side and kill yourself in the process. No, the goal is to come up with a good idea that is viable and feasible and that you can execute. Once you have that, AKA, that's called a business plan. So once you have a business plan, 33% of business owners have a formal business plan as of recent studies. So if you, one, do the work and do the business plan, you now know where your business is going, what your business is trying to do. You have market research, you have a sales strategy, you have forecast, you know what you're trying to do. And then you take this business plan to someone that's got money and you say, hey, I've got about $300 coming in a month. that I can leverage. Here's my business plan. And if I could just get 10 to 15K, I could start generating about 20, I could start generating, say, $5,000 a month. Right now, this person only has 300 bucks.
Mhm.
But they said, if you can get me, 10K in 3 months' time with my business plan, my market research, my sales strategy, and the beta testing that we did, people really want this stuff. I've already got contracts signed. I just need the money. It works. You give that to them and they say, okay, how about we do this? We'll give you 10K at 10% interest, and you just pay, $300 a month on the leveraged app capital. And if you do this right, you get your return on investment and you buy yourself out of the loan, out of the line of credit, and you start using your profits to reinvest into the business. So that's number three, is bootstrapping unnecessarily. There's really no need unless your credit is absolutely tarnished and you are probably like a felon or something, just got out and they won't give you any money.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Bootstrap it or try to find some other means. But in most cases, it's unnecessary.
And that's a great point too, because when you talk about the bootstrapping, it's that fame word of like, hey, I started from the bottom. I made it work. I had to bootstrap my way up to my millions, and that's all good. But like you made some great points. Go back to the fundamental basics of starting your business and with a business plan, and that's what a lot of beginning business owners fail to realize. They just jumpstart into it. So that's a great point. Um,
Let me jump in real quick, 'cause
oh,
I gotta get this thought out because I'm old.
uh,
All right, we go back to my question before I had asked you that other one, right? And I was like, did you think the military helped or hindered you, right? And so I'm really listening to what those three things was, and I'm just gonna throw this out there to you vets and active duty that's listening. Those three things that Bobby named was everything you do when we proceed with anything in the military. Before you do a major exercise, before you do major purchases, we go through all that, whether we get working groups, whether we get forums, that's what we practice. So if you relate that stuff in the business, now I see why so many vets just do so well because we're already practicing those things in our everyday life in the military. And that's just real. Like there's no bootstrapping because we got tons of money, but we only got tons of money because we had a plan, which was what your number two was. You know what I mean? So it all came into play. But man, that was I was thinking everything you said and thinking about, after, coming off these 30 years, like, man, that's what we executed. We just worded it different, but that's how we did it. And before we did anything, we had to have all those avenues done, and then we move forward for a successful event, a successful function, a successful exercise. So thank you for that. I just wanted to throw that little plug out there for the guys that's listening, to kind of start thinking outside the box, like, oh, wow, I'm already practicing that. But, okay, go ahead. I had to throw that out there.
no,
My
no,
bad.
that's perfect. That's perfect. And it kind of hit with my one of my other questions as for a business owner who is looking for funding
Mhm.
or how to get started with funds that don't have any money. You kind of went dead into that. So it's great how the universe made that work. But what is the follow-on steps on when do your team come in? Because I know you have programs where your team can come in and help them manage that process of, hey, I only got $300 in my pocket. I formed that business plan. Now I got $20,000. What do I do next before I
Yes.
blow that next week?
Right. Right. Excellent question. Excellent question. So we help them from the ground floor. From the ground floor. So if you are an entrepreneur and you just have an idea, you're like, I don't even know what to do with this. One of our recommendations is to get with us and just get around other entrepreneurs. Start thinking entrepreneurial thoughts. And once you've got that piece down pat, we come in with our business plan plus financing. And that package is where we, one, walk you through what it means to have a business model. So you get educated on what a business model is. That's what underpins your business plan. And then we take you through the business plan as we build it out for you. So we give you a workbook that you work through, and then we
Mhm.
educate you so you can become an executive. A lot of people are professionals, but they're not business owners, meaning they're good at what they do, but they don't know anything about running a business.
Mm.
So when we do the business plan workbook, we educate, and then we work on the business plan, which is the technical stuff, and we deliver that to them. And then while we're doing that, simultaneously, we are working with the banks and CDFIs, which are community development financial institutions, as necessary to get the required funding for the organization. So once we've got them the business plan, they use the business plan to get the funding. And once they have the funding and the business plan, they're ready for execution. And that's when we roll them into either our complete C-suite, and that's for people that are making $250,000, or excuse me, $250,000 plus, or we roll them into our business essentials for successful practices. And if we do that, that's when we are introducing the entry level business owners to that space of business improvement for entrepreneurs getting started.
Wow.
That's good. That's good. That's
I hear you, I hear you talking, right? And I wonder what was the motivation behind you getting to where what you wanted to do? What I mean, did you grow up as a kid and was like, I want to be in finance? Did you see somebody when you was a kid and was like, God, that guy, that's what I want to do? What was it for you that I mean, because you was in the military, did 11 years, and for people that don't know, once you get over 10, that's usually that's it. You get over 10, it's like, well, I'm doing 20, and you didn't. And even if I was like, working with you, I'd be like, Bobby, what are you thinking? So tell me, where is this coming from? Because I mean, you're just when you talk about the thing that you do, you have passion behind it, right? So where does that come from? What's doing that? Just curious.
Man, excellent question. I definitely will say it starts with family. It starts with family because I'm a firm believer that as you're building your family, your legacy, you have an opportunity to impact the lives of those closest to you. And those people go out and impact lives of people that are close to them, and so on and so forth. So when I opened up, I said, I'm just a young entrepreneur that believes that small business can change the world. And that's what I mean by that. So what caused me to take the leap of faith, to go 11 years and then exit the Marine Corps, was that I truly believe that small business is the future of our economy. And that if we build strong business owners, sound business owners that are equipped with the right planning, the right financing, and are positioned to succeed, then we can make this world a better place, starting with our families. That's
Do you, I I'm talking to a lot of small business owners, around just because that's just kind of the field I'm in. And I wonder, what do you do? What do you say to motivate the people that's, we've had small businesses and it's been successful for all these years, and then a Walmart pops up. What do we do to keep our business going when we got to compete with the big dogs, the Amazons, the Walmarts, and those guys out there?
Man, that is a great question, and it's a highly economic answer that I have for you guys. One thing to understand about the economy is that money goes where money grows. And a lot of people believe that there is a zero sum game in business. And this idea means that for me to have, someone else has to lose. But that's not the case. What really happens is there is a transfer of wealth. And this transfer is usually dependent upon efficiency. So when you see everything that happened with AMC, the theater that was going out of business, and GameStop that was going out of business, that's the economy at work. And what you saw then was an inefficient allocation of resources, meaning there was tons of money going here, but there was not a good return on investment. So the business itself started to go out of business. So when you're saying, how do I compete as a small business with the big businesses, become more efficient in the area that they are not efficient in? Because what this does is it causes you to create a cornered market. That's what they call a niche. Once you niche down and you create your market space, the funds that were going elsewhere starts to flow into this space because the return on investment is more valuable. And that's really how that works, is you don't have to compete with them in the sense that you need to match their resources and their marketing capacity. You simply have to compete in the sense of providing better service to your ideal client than they can. And then your ideal client will spend their money with you versus them, because economically they're getting a greater return on investment from you than they are from them.
Okay.
What are three recommendations, like for books or resources that
All
you
right.
can give our audience on starting their business or getting started? What are three books I won't get that?
Yes, 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 yes. Gotta have your Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Classic. Gotta have it. If you're not a big reader and you want the scenic route to that, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. That's a substitute there. The number two book I would say is This Is Marketing by Seth Godin. He is an extraordinary marketer in the one-to-one marketing space, in the ability to authentically market, which is great. And then the third, I would say everyone getting started should have, man, good one to get started with, I would say, is My Brand Story. My Story Brand. That's the name of it. My Story Brand by Donald Miller. Remembering these titles, you got me on the spot. Donald Miller. So My Story Brand by Donald Miller will show you how to position yourself in the mind of your customers so that you can get the greatest traction from them. And there's another one, Traction. It's a great book to read when you're getting started. But yes, that's four. Give you a bonus.
That's great. And if the audience then out here and our listeners, how can they get a hold of you to maybe get a consultation? If they listen to the Boots to Suits podcast, how can they connect with you?
All you have to do is email consultation to info@ibcgconsultants.com. So all you have to do again is email consultation at info@ibcgconsultants.com, and we'll take care of you from there.
Well, you heard it there, folks. And look, this was another phenomenal episode. Definitely go to Bobby's website, go to all his social media pages, go to the Boots to Suits podcast page and our social pages. And if you haven't subscribed to Bobby's YouTube, our YouTube, go ahead, subscribe, give us all that thumbs up, and we're going to see you on the next episode of the Boots to Suits podcast. Bobby, hey, I want to give you your Boots to Suits Medal of Greatness. I appreciate everything you do. And I salute you, sir.
Thank you, brother. Really appreciate it.
You guys.